So you could always move on. What I tell people is try it on. If there's no rentals out there. I have people all the time, can you help me find a rental? No, there's just not any. It's worse than trying to buy a house right now.
Really?
Yes, there's just no rentals. And the rental market is the prices. I would never rent for the prices that people are trying to get you to rent for.
Welcome to Waypoint Real Talk, where we discuss real estate and your home. Let's get started with your hosts, Aaron Shishilla and Austin Hines.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Waypoint Real Talk. Today, we have an awesome podcast with an awesome guest. We have Heather Stotts with Hustle and Heart with Remax Collective. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you. So today we're talking about specifically Divvy Homes, right?
Yes.
And what is Divvy Homes? And then we'll get into like your background.
Sure. Divvy Homes is a rent-to-own program that's actually based out of San Francisco, but they are making their way across the United States. And they've been here in Florida for a few years now, and my team is working with them to help people get into homes.
So people not familiar, what is like rent-to-own?
Rent-to-own is where you in this scenario, you get to pick a home and Divvy goes in, buys it for cash, and then you have up to 3 years to purchase that home from Divvy. In the meantime, part of your rent is going towards a savings account that you can use for down payment or closing costs at the end of that. So you're basically a tenant for 1, 2, or 3 years, whatever you need to get your credit up to snuff to get a loan, and then you purchase the home.
So this is a type of program for people who are maybe not ready to purchase a home financially, but want to own a home. Is that correct?
Yep. Or somebody who maybe is self-employed and they haven't had their business, or maybe selling cars, or even a realtor who's a 1099 employee that can't get a home just yet. This would work for them as well.
Gotcha. Okay, so tell us about you and your background, where you came from, how long you've been a real estate agent, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my background is customer service. I worked at a wholesale beauty supply for over 8 years. And then I became a realtor. I have been doing that for about 6 years now, working to build my own team. We started building our team about 3 years ago, and so we're now the Hustle and Heart group, and we just moved to Remax Collective here in Tampa. My team is based in Pinellas. We just opened up our office this week, actually. And
congratulations.
Thank you. I know we're so excited. We've been waiting. Construction took forever, but we're here now, so we're so excited.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Thank you.
It sounds like you're killing it.
Yeah, we've been doing really well. It's amazing.
And we were talking before the podcast, you actually had a record year in 2020, right?
Yes, we did.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, we did.
And so most of the people that you're working with are people with Divvy Homes, or like just quite a bit?
I'd say right now our business is about 50% Divvy Homes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And tell me about your perspective as far as how you're working with these people. Like we were talking before, and you mentioned in most transactions, like it's just a transaction, right? But with your customer service background, how do you handle, these types of transactions? You mentioned all the different types of care that you take into your clients, right?
Yeah. Our motto is building relationships beyond the sale. So I never wanted it to just be, here's your keys, see you later. We always wanted it to be something where you remember us, because a realtor's biggest business is referrals. So we do a lot of pop-by gifts. If you're one of our clients, we tend to just bring things by your door every quarter. We do customer appreciation parties. We do pie drives in November. We do a lot of things to just stay in front of our clients and let them know that we appreciate them so much. And a lot of our business is referral based because of that.
Yeah. I just think nowadays, like things like that is so important, because we get caught up in the day to day, or, trying to, I guess everyone's trying to make more money or trying to get extra sales or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're all humans.
Absolutely.
Right. And we all want to feel appreciated. We all want to, thank everyone for our business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have to stand out somehow. There's 70,000 realtors just in Tampa Bay. I mean, you come.
Oh my gosh,
you,
is it
you
that
come
many?
you come to Florida and you get your driver's license and your real estate license, and so you have to be able to stand out somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
That's
try
a
to
really
do
great
that.
point. Okay, so talking back into Divvy Homes, how would the application get started as far as somebody who's interested in this? Maybe they are that 1099, they're starting their new business, and especially right now with the market,
Yep.
trying to buy a home is maybe not the right fit for them just because they can't get the loan.
Sure. So there's an easy application process. Takes about 24 to 48 hours. You go through a process almost like getting a loan where they put you through an underwriting process to make sure that you do have all your ducks in a row, right? You have the income that they're looking for. And they ask that you have a income that's combined of at least $50,000 a year. You've got to have a credit score of at least 550, although we like to say 600 because 550, you do have to put more significant down payment. The process is really easy. I've actually done it myself just to see what it would look like because I never want anybody to have to do something that I don't know what it looks like. So they ask you 10 or 15 questions, you upload some documents, and then one of the team from Divi gets with you and they let you know how the process will work. Basically, they assign you a realtor, or you could have your realtor sign up for the program and they can also do it. It's not just like a referral based. And then we go shopping for homes like you are the buyer. So we set you up on MLS. We find your criteria and we just start shopping for homes.
Gotcha. So the realtors that are working with Divvy Homes, they're just realtors that are, I guess, registered with Divvy Homes?
Yeah, anybody can go on and sign up with Divi, and they have webinars that you can watch. And the process for the realtor is pretty easy. You're looking for a move-in ready home, right? It doesn't have to be upgraded, but it's got to have a decent roof, AC, and water heater. So they have to be no more than like 10 years old. And if they are, then it's just a discussion that we have with the listing agent. Like, hey, if we bring you a full price or over full price cash offer, would your seller be willing to give us a credit for one of these items if it needs to be replaced? Because they want to set the expectation that when you go to buy this home, you've got a roof that still has a lot of life left, right? Your AC, you're not going to have to replace it right away. Your water heater, you don't have to go in and replace it. They want to set you up for success.
Yeah, I feel like that's so important just because a lot of people, they don't realize once it's their first home and they get stuck with their first bill. I
Yep.
know, like, when I bought my first house,
Yeah.
my dishwasher broke, then my dryer broke, and my dang home inspector, he just didn't catch it. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I was actually the inspector for it, but
It was your own fault.
yeah. No, it's like those things you can't catch as a home inspector, right?
Right.
But you do everything that you can, but at least the major items with Divvy Homes, like the roof, as you mentioned, the water heater, they have standards for those things.
Absolutely, yeah. And they are very, very thorough with their inspections. It's amazing.
Yeah. So do they get their own inspectors for that, or how does that process work?
Yeah, they have an inspector that's on staff. He started in Ohio and built out their team there and then came here. His name is Jerry. He's amazing. But he knows exactly what they're looking for. And so we can go in and say, hey, here's the things on the seller's disclosure. Here's what we've seen. Tell us what you think. And he'll go through and say, okay, here's what they're going to pass. Here's what they're going to ask for. And they do come in and ask sometimes for quite a bit of things off the inspection. And I mean, at most points, they've gone in way over asking. So we don't have too many sellers that are like, absolutely not, we're not doing that. Usually they're like, okay, we'll get it done. We want to move forward.
Right.
So it's a pretty easy process.
And the tenant at this person, or the supposed buyer, right? Or
Right.
the tenant,
Yep.
is the one that's choosing the home. Yeah. So going back to the tenant picks the home,
Correct.
right? And usually especially in this market, right, when people are choosing a home, if I'm a regular person that has like an FHA loan or some type of loan, it might be harder for me to kind of compete.
Correct.
But with Divvy Homes, as you were talking about earlier, everything's cash.
Correct.
Right? So can you talk a little bit about how that works and especially how that is an advantage in this market?
Sure. I mean, cash is easy because there's no appraisals. Most times Divi can close in 17 days. I've had them close in 14 sometimes. Right now it's a little bit harder because title work is taking longer. But fast closing, all cash, no appraisals. The only contingency is an inspection. Right now we're doing 7-day inspections. If the house is built after 2008, I believe, we're doing no inspections. So sometimes they're walking in, we're like, hey, here's $10,000, over asking in cash. We can close in 2 weeks. No contingencies. What do you think? And people are like, yeah, sign me up for that. So
Wow.
yeah, that getting into that versus a loan, FHA, conventional, VA, I've got to get 30 days minimum. We're going through inspections. If it's FHA or VA, there's, no peeling paint, no broken windows. They got to have the roof, has to have years of life left and things like that. So in this scenario, they're just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and especially with the market just right now being so hot. I mean,
Exactly.
there's no listings available.
Right.
So what kind of experience are you having versus like your Divvy Home properties and then maybe your like regular offers, the other half of your business, right?
Yeah. Well, right now we're really listing heavy, which is great because, you have the listings, you control the market. So there's that. So we've been doing a lot of listings, which is awesome. We haven't had too many FHA, but the few that we do have, it has been a struggle. We have to get creative. We do as little inspection period as possible. I am not a believer of waiving the inspection contingency at all. I know that some realtors do that, but I think it's to the detriment of the buyer, and they need to know what they're getting into. A lot of people are doing waiving of appraisals. I also don't like that because we are having appraisals that are coming in lower. Appraisers are starting to try to help control the market a little bit because there's some areas where it's just out of control.
Yeah.
People are bidding 50,000, 60,000 over, and it's like, okay, but what's that going to look like in a couple of years?
50, 60 grand over.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what is your perspective on that as a real estate agent? Well, how do you feel about that?
I mean, the comps will be there, right? Because they're closing, but most of these are cash. Sometime it has to level off. It can't keep going like this forever because people can't afford houses, right? There are still people out there that need to get a loan, and it's going to be hard to buy a house because you're just getting priced out. Most of the people that are coming down right now are from up north, and they're like, if COVID pops up again or we got to get locked down, we're doing it at the beach, and we've got people from all over the place coming down here just throwing money. It has to level off somehow.
Yeah.
It has to.
I mean, at least that's what I've heard is a lot of people from up north
Oh, yeah.
where they're coming in places like California or New York where real estate's so expensive. They sell
Yep.
their house there
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they have just tons of money.
Tons of money. I grew up actually in Southern California. So
Yeah.
if I was to take, $1 million and buy something in Florida, it would be pretty close to the Gulf front, right? But in California, I'm like 50 miles away. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, there's no way you're getting close to the water. So yeah, they're selling their house $3, $4, $5 million, and they're coming over here and they're like, hey, we can get a primary residence, we can get a second home, we can get 3 Airbnbs, and I still have money in the bank for my Tesla. So it's crazy. It's nuts.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so going back to Divvy Homes and these rent-to-own programs.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people that maybe they're hesitant on buying or they think like I should just rent instead? What's kind of like your usual go-to saying for those?
If somebody who's thinking about renting, maybe they are relocating from California or somewhere else and they just don't know where they want to live, this is a great program because with Divvy, you're never obligated to buy the house. Of course, that's the end game for Divvy, right? They want you to buy it because they don't want to be stuck with a bunch of inventory. But you can try the house out. Let's say you buy in a neighborhood, and then in 2 years you're like, this is not the neighborhood I thought it was, or I'm just don't want to live here anymore. You can give the house back to Divvy, and they do take your deposit that you put down, 1 or 2%, but the savings account that they set up for you in their program, it's 25% of the rent. You get to keep that, so you could always move on. What I tell people is try it on. If there's no rentals out there. I have people all the time, can you help me find a rental? No, there's just not any. It's worse than trying to buy a house right now.
Really?
Yes, there's just no rentals. And the rental market is the prices. I would never rent for the prices that people are trying to get you to rent for. 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, $2,700 a month. Like, no. 3-bedroom,
Wow.
2-bath, $3,500 a month. Like, no. Not unless I'm like, I can open my doors and look at the ocean or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. That's way more than I even pay for my mortgage. And this is a good program for you to be able to get into a rental and then see if you want to buy it. Maybe
Yeah.
you didn't think that you could buy a house.
I can't believe that people are trying to rent properties for that. And you
yes.
got to know, like, they're getting it.
Oh, 1,000%. They're doing highest and best offers. Like there's like 60 applications on a property. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no way.
So I really feel like with this, particularly for those people that are maybe on the fence or they want to purchase a home, they just, maybe it's not the right time for them.
Yep.
They're trying to get their business going.
Yep. Building credit.
Yeah.
It's good for if you're building credit because they do put you through a credit repair program as well. And then your rent is also reported to all 3 credit bureaus. They really try to set you up for success. I've used other rent-to-own programs, and this one by far, of course they need to make money, right? Because we all need to do that. But they really have set up parameters for the tenant/buyer to be successful and be able to get into that home.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I think that at the end of the day, I mean, as I mentioned previously, that's one of the things that are just most important, especially about these types of programs.
Yep.
Where your target person is those that need to build their credit, need the extra help and the extra assistance.
Yeah.
And especially at a market like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Okay. So concluding here, do you have any final thoughts on this? Where can people find you?
People can find me on www.thehustleandheartgroup.com. We can tell you more about Divi on there. You'll see all my agents and all of our amazing reviews, and get in touch with me and we can talk more about Divi.
Yeah, I think that for those people that are maybe on the fence about it, I think it'd be something worthwhile for.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you.
everything, all of Heather's information is going to be down below in the description. Depending on if you're listening to a podcast platform, you can just go directly to our website, waypointinspection.com, where all of your information is going to be on that nice blog there as well. But Heather, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this information.
Thank you.
I really hope these types of programs continue to get taken advantage of, and we help out some more people out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, thank you.